guys, this is Margola, your favorite Brooklyn broker, coming to you from the cool Catskill Mountains in upstate New York. Let's dive in. Sellers, what if I told you that there is one overlooked decision, one that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars when selling your home? Why? Because there's one secret that most real estate agents will not share. Stay tuned. Successfully bring to the closing table, because remember, it's not just getting a buyer. Anyone can get a buyer. A one-year agent can get a buyer, but it's the agents that have the know-how and the boots on the ground that can actually take it from the accepted offer to the contract to the closing table. Because you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're not interested in waiting around until your buyer actually comes up with the financing to close. Once you set your mind to selling, it could be a home that you were born in. Typically, in my neck of the woods in Crown Heights, 99.9% of my sellers, these are the homes they were born in. If they weren't born in it, they very often first enter that home when they were a young child. These also can be generational homes. These are strong brownstones that the families who own them take great pride in their estate, in their real estate. So it's important to be sensitive and make sure that the buyer who comes knocking on your door is a buyer that actually can close. And you may say, well, Margola, I got people knocking on, and this is what I get all the time. Oh, Margola, I get people knocking on my door day and night. I don't need an agent. So to which I respond, you do. Because when you don't take the agent, the right agent, then what is going to leave you hundreds of thousands of dollars on the closing table, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? When you listen to those people who are knocking on your door, and they'll say, oh, we want to buy it. We don't need an agent. What are you paying a commission for? We're here. You want to sell, we want to buy, we're offering you an astronomical number. What do you need a middleman for? What do you need an agent? What do you need a buffer? Well, that's what I do. To be quite blunt, I rarely open doors, and that is not what I get paid for. What I do is negotiate, and I make sure that you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, are protected. Yet, yes, we are in an attorney state in New York, but your attorney will only write what the broker gives as the deal. We give the deals, the attorney writes out the contracts. So while you might have an amazing attorney, that attorney isn't going to go to bat for you while negotiating the deal. They'll make sure you're protected, but they don't negotiate. Your agent is going to negotiate. Your agent is going to make sure that the buyer who says that a price, who offers a price and says that he's going to close, is really going to close, and really at the price that was negotiated. Very often, buyers who come knocking on your door and offer wads of cash. I had a seller who once said he had a buyer who came with a suitcase of cash, and that seller got so turned off, he said, no, I'm not dealing with anyone with suitcases of cash. And he said something very interesting. He said, Margot, my sellers call me Margot. He said, Margot, I've never done a real estate transaction. He actually came into that property when he was 7 years old, and at the time that he sold, he was 72. He said, I've never bought or sold a property. I don't know how deep the waters are. Yeah, I got buyers by the truckload. They come knocking on my doors every day. But I don't know the first thing about selling. I don't know how deep the waters are. He was happy to hire me and pay my fee so that I can protect him, which I did. So going back to what I said about buyers coming without representation directly to sellers, knocking on doors, hey, do you want to sell? We don't need an agent. Well, be very wary of those buyers. They're not buyers. 9 out of 10, they're actually flippers. They're going to take that contract, and that's all they want is a contract. They take the contract and they flip it. They are not the ones at the closing table. They will flip it to another buyer, a real buyer, at substantially higher price and a much more greater amount than what was on the contract. So let's do the math. I'm going to do the math based on a recent real life experience. It happened. I'm calling up a seller, a potential seller, and the seller says, no, we're not selling. A month later, I see that property, not only they were selling, they were already in contract, and it's sold. Now, when I called and said that I'm a broker, I'm very transparent, I'm a broker, I can get you $2 million for your property, and they said they're not selling, well, they went into contract with someone who claimed that she was a buyer. What was the price she went into? 1.6. So her hook, if you will, to a potential seller is, don't pay me a commission. I'm a buyer. We don't need an agent. Okay, well, thank you very much. What's the difference between 2 million and 1.6? $400,000, right? My commission is 6%. 6% of 2 million is nowhere near $400,000. It's actually 120. So 2 million less 120 is still head and shoulders above 1.6. So that seller, that unsuspecting seller, left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the closing table. Why? Because they swallowed what that buyer was telling them, hook, line, and sinker. We don't need a broker. I'm a buyer. We're going to go into contract for 1.6. And what do you think that buyer did? That buyer took that 1.6 contract, flipped it for 2 million, and put the 400,000 in her pocket. So be very wary of those who come knocking on your door without a broker, without representation for you. You need protection. People can come knock on your door day and night. Wonderful. But refer them to your trusted and skilled broker who can net and vet those who are real buyers versus those who are just trying to make money off of you. This is Margola, your favorite Brooklyn broker. You can call, text, email, send smoke signals, whatever. I'm always available to answer your questions, anything real estate related, because I love talking real estate.